just wrapped up, and it was Eating Disorder Awareness Month. Clinical manager for the Eating Recovery Center, Emma Streit, is here to tell us what the clinic offers. Emma, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm glad you're here because eating disorders, I think a lot of us think we know about them, but there are a lot of statistics, a lot of myths out there, so I'm hoping you can break it down for us this morning. First of all, though, if you wouldn't mind, the Eating Recovery Center. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So we are a treatment center for eating disorders specifically. So for any eating disorder, we offer 2 levels of care: partial hospitalization and intensive outpatient programming. So they're higher levels of care, pretty intense. PHP is 7 days a week. IOP is 3 days a week. We offer group therapy, individual therapy, family therapy. We really try to wrap around our patients and get them the best care as possible.
I've done an intensive outpatient therapy setup before for anxiety and depression, and it is amazing how much support you can have even though you're sitting in your own house with your own computer.
Yes, yeah, and we actually offer, so we do have a virtual option and we also have in-person options as well, which is really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you never knew how wonderful group therapy could be until you tried it.
It's true, yes. It can be really intimidating, but it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, and people often see themselves reflected in other folks' journeys. It can be really supportive. So I think that's wonderful. Let's talk about the types of eating disorders that y'all cover.
Yeah. So, we have the typical ones that you might know of in your head or have learned about in school. So absolutely, we treat anorexia, we treat bulimia, we also treat binge eating disorder, and we treat ARFID as well.
Can I stop you? What's
ARFID?
ARFID?
ARFID is an avoidant and restricting disorder. So it can be similar to anorexia in that we're avoiding food intake, but the reasoning is different. So there's not the body image distress. It's often kind of comorbid with things like autism or OCD.
Got it.
It's something more tending to be about like the texture of food that we don't like, or a fear that might be coming up, maybe a fear of choking. So some other sort of reason that we are avoiding food intake.
Interesting. Okay, so those are 4 types that you offer, and the services you offer around cover all of those things, right? What are some common warning signs maybe that someone is experiencing an eating disorder, especially if you're looking from the outside in, or if you might be that person coming to the realization?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's a couple of things. I think there's some physical symptoms to look out for, and then there's some behavioral warning signs as well. So physically, we can kind of think about like really significant weight change over a kind of a short period of time. We can think about things like struggling with concentration. We can think about things like thinning hair, those pieces that are maybe a little bit more of things that we already know about. Behaviorally, we can think about things even like isolating from our friends and family, changing patterns in eating. So maybe your daughter always eats breakfast. That's her favorite meal of the day. And all of a sudden she's saying, actually, I don't like breakfast anymore. Kind of something to, might be a red flag. Really a lot of concerns about body image distress, right? Maybe body checking, looking in the mirror, talking about body image often. Those are some behavioral signs as well that we would look out for.
Something that has happened to me in the past is that I've been on a diet where I was counting calories, and I was doing it to try and be logical, burn out versus in, that sort of thing. But I found myself starting to obsess very quickly, and I am not a person that I would consider to have an eating disorder problem anyway. So that's something that maybe just to watch out for.
Absolutely, yes. I think that often eating disorders can really start from this benign place where maybe we are like, oh, it's January 1st, we want to start keto, or we want to start Whole30, and then it can really spiral into a place of a lot of obsession, and that is when it really turns into an eating disorder and can spiral quite quickly into a place of a lot of danger.
Gotcha. I do want to ask about some common myths maybe that are out there about eating disorders, because I think when we think about anorexia, we think of a certain look of a person, but the way someone looks on the outside may not be what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and we actually have another category of disorders called atypical anorexia, and that really captures, right, this idea that you cannot tell from the outside what a person's health is at all, no matter what.
Gotcha.
So, it's not, eating disorders are not just a thin person disorder. Anybody with any body type can have an eating disorder. And so that I think is very useful to think about, and one of the most harmful myths probably. And a couple of other myths are, one, that it's just a female disorder.
I do feel like there's a lot of, strenuous kind of pressure put on women from an early age to look a certain way.
Absolutely.
But it's also not happening to our young men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely, yes. And so it's really important that we don't forget about this large population, right? The half of our population who also struggles with eating disorders. 25% of those with eating disorders are men.
Really?
And that I think is pretty shocking to a lot of folks.
It's a bigger percentage than I was thinking it would
is.
be. Yeah. Any other myths you want to share?
Yeah, I think that one that we really try to debunk in our clinic is that the family is the cause of the eating disorder. That mom, dad are the reason that your kiddo has maybe developed this eating disorder. Really, the etiology of an eating disorder is so complex. There are so many different factors, including genetic factors, that can cause eating disorders, not just the family.
Gotcha. Okay. And why do eating disorders affect all ages, all genders, all backgrounds? How can you find them everywhere?
Yeah, so, right, it's because of this kind of diverse etiology and because of our culture, they're in every single population. So they affect children as young as 8, right? Adults as old as 80, men, women, people of all races.
Wow. I think that that's actually really unnerving to hear because it means it's everywhere, and that means we need to do something about it. You all have free support groups. Before we go, can you tell me about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are even kind of interested or want to learn more about eating disorders, maybe you're concerned that a family or friend has an eating disorder, join one of our support groups. They're free, they're virtual, eatingrecoverycenter.com/support-groups. And they're all sorts of different times led by folks who really know what they're talking about.
And it's wonderful to have a clinician here in the studio to help us out today. Emma, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. For more information on resources available, visit eatingrecoverycenter.com.
He's the man behind the creation of the Ghost Face Killer and, of course, the Scream franchise. You guys, ahead of the Scream 7 release, I'm so excited to be speaking with director and creator Kevin Williamson. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. So just kind of tell me, what's like the origin story of Scream? How did this all kind of begin for you? Where did maybe the influence come from?
Well, I wanted to originally, well, I wanted a job. I was so broke, and I was trying to also get my, kickstart my career. But I also love horror films. I've loved them since a kid. They were sort of my escape growing up in a small town. And we were in a rut in the 90s. All those wonderful slasher films of the 80s were over, and they weren't making horror movies anymore. So I sat down to write the movie I wanted to see. And I'm someone who has seen all the horror movies, so I know all the tricks, and I know, and a lot of all my friends had too. And I thought, what happens if we tell that story? Someone has seen who has seen all the movies. What do they do when they're up in one? And that's where we sort of came up with the premise of someone has taken their love of scary movies too far, and that was the tagline for the first film. And so we tried to keep that alive through seven installments.
Yes, 7 installments later. And I think it's interesting you say that too, because I love that idea of like, if it's not already out there, if someone hasn't made it, just do it yourself, right? Someone's got to start that. Now, it's interesting because you kind of teased us there a second ago, but if you look at your body of work, a lot of it kind of falls within either the horror or thriller or supernatural genres. So what fascinated about you then and what continues to fascinate it now? Because we're 20 years into the Scream franchise.
I don't know if I have a full answer for that because I think some of it is just my thing. I don't know how horror became my happy place,
Mm.
but it was sort of, growing up as a kid in a small town and I found an escape in that. I identified with the final girl. Jamie Lee Curtis was my hero. I felt like, as a kid growing up, you're always scared. You're always running from something. You're always hiding from something. And I was very much a final girl in my small town. So I connected to the horror genre, and I do love it. I love things that go bump in the night. I love to be scared. I still get scared. I'm a big scaredy cat. You don't want to sit next to me in the movie theater, and because I will jump. But it's just been it was my gateway drug into the business.
Yeah, I love the nuances of how that kind of ties back to maybe your own personal life. And I will say too, I'm also the jumpiest person ever. My wife laughs at me every time we're in the theater. So there's that. Now, what's it been like for you getting to work with some of the same actors film after film, like most notably Nev Campbell? And then of course there's been a lot of new faces incorporated along the way.
Oh yes, I mean we've been so fortunate to have a terrific cast through all of the films, and having Nev back. We're old friends. We've known each other since 30 years, and Courtney, I've also known her, and so it was like coming home again. And we got to bring some OGs back along with the new cast, and it was just a lot of fun. They're very fun to make these movies, and I don't
They're
know
good at
if
doing it. How would you say the stakes are elevated in Scream 7?
Well, it's very personal this time. It's truly about family. It's about a mother and daughter who are trying to connect in a personal way because Sydney's a little shut down when it comes to her past, and her daughter, wants to know about it. And so it's her daughter doesn't have the information. Her daughter doesn't know what her mother went through personally. She doesn't know. She read all the books, she saw the stab movies, but she doesn't know what really happened. And so, what happens when Ghostface comes calling to a daughter who's the exact same age she was when it all started? It really is a true mother and daughter story. And they're thrown into peril when a Ghostface does come calling. And it's just a very personal story. And it's also allows us to move the franchise forward.
Yeah, yeah, which I love. And speaking of moving the franchise forward, I'm curious, like I said, we're 20 years in. How many more Scream films do
30
you feel like
years
you have
in.
left in you?
30, we're 30 years in.
30 years in. My heavens. Okay, well, my math was way off when I checked. But, anyways, 30 years in. How many more do you feel like you have left in you?
Well, I think, it takes a village. So, I'm not an island. I have so many other people who now who with a love of this franchise that participate in it. We have, and so we have great writers and producers. And I think as if there's a call for this, if the audience continues to love the franchise and want another movie, we'll always make it.
Okay, you'll always make it. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. For those watching, get your tickets now and check out Scream 7 in theaters everywhere.
Dr. Jess Trinkina of Generator Athlete Lab and Experts in Wellness loves to read the newest studies on how our bodies work. She is jazzed up here today to discuss some research on our brains, specifically the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. How'd I do? AMCC, and how to strengthen it. Dr. Jess, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Rosie?
I'm good. The AMCC, what is it? What does it do?
Man, isn't that fun? The AMCC. I have not referred it to that, but I will moving forward.
It's kind of long to say out loud.
It is.
Anterior mid-cingulate cortex.
I'm going to use that. Thank you for that. It's a portion of the brain inside the frontal lobes, on the inside of these frontal lobes, and we often call it the willpower center. It's the center or the portion of your brain related to tenacity, overcoming challenges, resilience. Super interesting. And guess what? It's not necessarily how you're born or how your brain is made. You can train this portion of the brain.
Well, and that's, I think, something that gets really sticky when it comes to like talking about brain power and stuff like that, because so often we hear that like willpower is actually not what you think it is.
Yeah.
You don't have the ability to override some things the way you think you do. But it turns out we do have a portion of our brain that is dedicated to helping you be a little bit stronger, right?
And more resilient. And how I'd like to tell people is think of it like a bicep or a quad. It is something you can literally strengthen. You can purposefully, in a controlled environment, activate this portion of the brain. And researchers are studying it more and more lately to see how we can activate it to the maximum potential.
Okay, well, how would we train the AMCC?
This is fun. This is fun. Why is it so fun for me? Is because it doesn't necessarily have to be able to stay in the cold plunge. Yes, that is one. But it's little simple things you can do every single day. Like overriding an impulse to check your phone, overriding an impulse to be comfortable, maybe staying uncomfortable a little bit more outside in the cold. Oh, I want to go inside where it's warm. Just stay outside a little bit longer. Those little things.
Or 30 seconds of cold water in the shower.
Exactly.
I read your notes over the weekend.
Exactly.
I did that this morning.
Well done. And you did CrossFit, girl. That's hard.
I'm trying to do the best that I can. So a couple of reasons there, or opportunities there that we saw to train the AMCC, including lifting something heavy. So this does
Exactly.
apply to workouts as well.
It does. So in real examples where you really think that, just give me some real examples here. So let's say we want to lift a 10 pounder, but we know we can probably push and pick that 15 or 20 pounder. Do that. When we want to stop the workout, finish the workout. When we don't want to stay in the cold plunge for 3 minutes, although we know the benefits, stay. And here's the really cool thing. As we know, those things benefit other things.
Right.
When we lift heavy weights, we're increasing our bone density and our muscles. When we get in the cold plunge, we're increasing serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, and norepinephrine. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about overriding the impulse to stop the hard thing. Doing the hard thing activates this portion of the brain that has been linked to better cognitive performance.
Well, that was the bottom line, is that I was going to
Yes.
ask you what happens when
Right.
we do all these things. Yeah, what's the point of
It's the
strengthening?
95-year-old that you're having the same conversation with me right now. Their
yeah.
cognitive performance is top notch. Their resilience is stellar. So let's say in life there's a challenge that has come to you. There's a challenge. You're able to be resilient without trying that hard because you have, with control and purpose, activated this portion of the brain by challenging yourself. Does that make sense?
It is so fascinating that we can lead, to better cognitive control.
Yes.
By doing things like not checking our phones.
Yes. Exactly.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah, doing some avoiding comfort. Some
Okay.
things that you just want to do or they're super comfortable. Overriding the impulse and not doing it activates this portion of the brain.
And I know that you want to make sure this is all about balance because we don't want to burn people out.
That's right.
So comfort is kind of the easy, lackadaisical, that's the easy button that you use to sit on the couch. This is what we're overriding.
Thank you for defining that. You're exactly right. We're not talking about burnout and chronic stress. We're supposed to be recovering as well.
Yeah.
When you do the hard workout, please recover, chill, relax, put some compression socks on, sit on the couch for a minute, have your electrolyte drink. You're exactly right. We're not talking about burning yourself out to exhaustion, chronic stress. Equal recovery to equal controlled stress.
Absolutely. Okay, recovery, an important piece there. You say, ask, is this a chance to grow my resilience? Maybe when we're talking about that 10-pound weight versus the 15 or 20,
Exactly.
that is the question you ask yourself.
That's right. Look at this as, can I approach this as a challenge that I can overcome and see a neurological response in my brain and body? There's so many wins to that.
And you were so excited to talk about this information today. Can you just tell me why you like it so much?
I love it so much because it's so easy. Now, obviously at Generator, we do recovery protocols where people have to overcome really difficult things because we put people in hot plunges and cold plunges and saunas and workouts. But simple things that we can do at home to override impulses can strengthen this portion of the brain. That's why I get really excited because people think, oh, I have to do this really, really hard thing. Not really. There are small micro decisions you can make throughout the day to activate this portion of the brain.
And I want to be at my 100th birthday party, chatting with everybody, having a great time.
That's right.
And so if that's what it takes for me to get there, I am willing to train this portion of my brain.
Me too.
I know you're going to be there. You're going to be doing great. Okay, experts in wellness, that's pretty new for you. Just real quickly, tell us about that.
Absolutely. I partnered with a doctor of naturopathic medicine where she looks at functional blood work to make sure you're getting the right supplements and balances. And I focus on chronic pain and injury, manual therapy, and treating things that often others can't quite figure out.
Because she's got that PT background, everybody. I just
Yeah.
love her brain too. Dr. Jess,
you.
thank you. All right, we appreciate it. Get expert guided customized protocols by going to expertsinwellness.com.
Van Halen and rock fans alike, listen up, because legends Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony are reuniting on stage for the Best of All Worlds residency on the Las Vegas Strip. Both the guys join me now. How are you both?
Great.
Doing
Excited.
great.
Yeah,
Ready
we're
for
getting ready to start
Vegas.
rehearsal. We're like, woo, yeah.
I can feel
Fired
the
up.
excitement. Yeah, you got me fired up. Okay, guys, so let's start with this. Why was this show with this specific set of people so important to you all?
Well, I think as far as doing the residency, we're there for a couple of weeks. We're in the same spot. We can rest up after a great show and give it 1,000% the next night. And especially like with Sammy and myself singing background vocals, the touring and moving around really takes it out of you a bit as far as vocally. So you can rest up and be able to give it 1,000% every night. And I think that's why a lot of bands are doing that in Vegas now, turning to that, because they do find it a lot easier to give the fans exactly what they want, a great show.
I didn't know what to expect when we did it last year. We did our first residency. We did 9 shows last year, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought I'm gonna freak out playing the same building every night. But it's really, there's a lot of fans that come to multiple shows, which is awesome, because they want to see all the different songs, because we have a master set list of 40 songs, but you can only play 20, 21 songs every night. So we shifted around, and the people that come to multiple shows, they get to see, they get their whole dream come true of every song. But for us, we didn't know what to expect. I thought it's going to get kind of boring playing the same building every night and the same people, but it's not. We fell in love with it, and that's why we took the residency this year, do it again this year for March, and then in September again we're doing 6 more shows in September. So we're doing 12 shows this year. We did 9 last year. I could see myself squeezing a lot more years out of my voice and my body and my career by doing more residencies and a little less touring. Sorry, folks. I know I'm going to get some bad slapped around on my website for that. But it's
from
true.
your own band.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, though. It's interesting because I think it's like protecting your own longevity within your career. You have a lot more autonomy doing it that way. Now, something that I think is really exciting is that I heard that there's an accompanying album release with this show. What can you tell me about that?
Well, we have a live album, and but it came out already. That we did from the last residency, but we just, we mixed it down, and we made a video on Veeps, I think it was Veeps, that showed the concert and all that stuff. We documented that whole thing, and it was so good because, like I said, Mike and I, our voices were great every night because we got a good night's sleep. We weren't traveling and getting dried out and dehydrated and just keeping our health up. So we recorded it, and it came out good enough to make a record, and that record is awesome. So yeah, we're happy.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and what I think is so incredible is you guys have been performing for a long time, really most of your life. So what does it mean to you to still be able to put on a show like this in Vegas and just still have people that care and are excited and want to hear you and want to be a part of everything that you're doing?
Yeah, you kind of said it right there. The fans, that we have got the greatest fans, and they want to hear it. They still want to hear the music, and especially now, Eddie passed away a few years ago, and Sammy and I are out there serving the people. The fans want to hear all this great music, and it's just great to be up there to play it for them. And what better way than doing it with your good buddies? It's great. It is the best of all worlds.
Yeah, it honestly, it's the fans, I think, demand that, like, if people didn't want to come and see us, I wouldn't do it. I'd just go to Cabo and play my nightclub every night. I'd play for 500 or 600 people, because I want to play. Mike and I, we go down there all the time and just jump up on stage, unannounced, because it's so much fun and we want to play. But if people didn't want to pay to see you, I'd still do that because I love doing it. Mike loves doing it. We love this stuff. But the fact that the people want it is what really makes us go rehearse, put together a gorgeous set list, put together a gorgeous production, get the best players, Joe Satriani, Greg Fillinganes, Kenny Aronoff. We've played with the greatest musicians, and the reason we do that, because we want to serve the music as great as possible and keep our fans happy, because without them, like I said, we'd be playing little clubs. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
still having fun, but just, going broke.
Yeah, having fun regardless. But I think it speaks to the power of what fans can do for us. I think that's really cool. Now, is there a song that you all enjoy the most or still perhaps get the most excited to be able to perform?
God, all of them. For me, I swear, people ask me all the time, favorite song I've ever written. I don't know. Maybe Eagles Fly for me. I'm sure Mike's got a choice too. But for me, Eagles Fly. But then it's not always, because unless my emotions are in it, it's not as it doesn't feel the magic when that song hits, and I really feel it in my heart, and I get choked up singing it, and the audience is out there getting choked up singing it. That is so gratifying and so high that it's tough to cap that, but that doesn't happen every time I sing it, so it varies, but they're all great. But I'm sure Mike, Mike, I think Mike just likes it when he gets to sing lead on a song, then he's going, yeah, that's the one I like. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, we stick some of the older Van Halen stuff in there, and Sammy's allowed me to do some lead vocals on some. So that's always my funnest, almost the best part of the show for me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it.
Really
It sounds
is.
like, it sounds like you guys bring a lot of energy and a great performance. And I'm so happy to see you guys are still performing and that your fans still love you as much as they do. So get your tickets now for the Best of All Worlds Las Vegas residency featuring Sammy Hagar and friends. Select dates in both March and September. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Peace.
Can't wait to see you all out there in Vegas.
The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by Plexiderm. Moms, of course, try to pass on the wisdom of wearing sunscreen and moisturizing, but do any of us ever listen? And even if we follow all of that advice to a T, we still end up with those unwanted deep-set wrinkles, puffy under eye bags. Why? Well, the good news is it's not your fault. It's just a part of growing older. As we age, our skin naturally loses its moisture, its elasticity, and then the wrinkles come. However, today we're excited to talk to an expert that can help us look and feel our best. Lifestyle contributor Melinda McKenzie is here to tell us more about Plexiderm. Melinda, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me today. I'm excited to talk about Plexiderm, which is a product I use every single day.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about how great you look because you're about to turn what age, my friend?
I'm about to turn 65, 6'5". And I want to also say I don't have injections. I don't have fillers. That's why I like talking about Plexiderm. This is just simply what Plexiderm can do for you. So I know a lot of times people will watch these and say, this doesn't seem right. It seems like maybe AI has jumped in there and fixed things. I'm here to tell you this is what Plexiderm can do. And that's also why we like to show photos and videos, because even if you've never taken care of your skin, and believe me, I do as much as I can, but even if you've never taken care of your skin, that's the great thing about Plexiderm, because you're just going to put it any area that you want to have it smooth and you're good to go.
Yeah, okay. I love, of course, seeing before and after pictures and videos. Tell me about this. Only 10 minutes, no doctor visits, topical serum, so there's no pain involved, right?
Yes. My favorite thing is that now you are in charge of your skin. Let's say you're someone who's already gotten injections and fillers, no judgment there. But if you do that, and then you go out to eat or you stay up late and you get the puffiness, what are you going to do about that? You're going to get your Plexiderm out and take care of it. I like the fact that it's a topical serum. So anywhere on your face that you're like, you know what, I don't like those forehead lines, or I have the puffiness underneath my eyes, or what about those deep lines around my mouth? Put the smallest amount of Plexiderm. We want you to let it rest for 10 minutes. Then you have up to 10 hours of usage. So remember 10 for 10. And then the great thing is you just wash it off at the end of the day. So don't need a manual. You don't need 6 weeks. You need 10 minutes.
Not bad. And, you know, for those of us ladies who are putting on the makeup, maybe a little bit more as time goes on when we're trying to feel our best, talk to me about how we should use Plexiderm and makeup. And then can guys do it? Those who wear no makeup?
Exactly. Those are great questions. And those are very popular among people that are new to Plexiderm. So yes, you can absolutely wear cosmetics with Plexiderm. I do. I love cosmetics. What I will tell you is you can do it either way. You can put it on first, put your Plexiderm on first, then use your cosmetics, because you are going to find you use a lot less. For me personally, because I've lost a lot of collagen, so I have the indentation. So what would happen is I'd throw a lot of under eye concealer, thinking the more is better, and it really isn't. Now, if you're a guy and you don't wear any cosmetics and you're like, yeah, I'd like to have smoother skin, but I don't want anybody to know I'm wearing something. I don't want to see anything. I want my skin to look like my skin. That's why we love Plexderm. This is highly concentrated. You just use the smallest amount. We have men in our clinical trials as well as women. We have athletes, guys who run, and they say, wow, I can't believe something so simple. Thanks for letting us use something that the ladies have been using. So that's why it's exciting. It doesn't matter, male, female, sensitive skin like me, or you've never taken care of your skin. Plexderm is going to work. You just need clean, dry skin in 10 minutes.
Sounds good to me. And you mentioned clinical studies. Let's talk about what clinical studies have been done on Plexaderm.
Yes, absolutely. So in February of 2019, we wanted to know, how effective is Plexderm? How long does it last? What are the results when we put it on the forehead, under the eyes, and around the mouth? What we discovered is when you start with clean, dry skin and let your Plexderm rest 10 minutes, on those forehead lines, you're going to have a reduction of up to 85%. Pretty phenomenal. So don't cut the bangs anymore. Plexderm will do the job for you. Underneath the eyes, that is the number one issue that people talk about. The puffiness, the lines and creases. For someone like me who gets that indentation, I don't want that to be the first thing people look at and people say that you're tired. When you put Plexderm and let it rest for 10 minutes, no matter what issue it is, you're going to have a reduction of up to 80%. That's really phenomenal. And remember, you can wear it with or without makeup. Last but not least is around the mouth. If you have those marionette lines that you feel like are very deep, or if let's say your cosmetics crease into the lines of your face, put the smallest amount here or around the lips, let it rest for 10 minutes. You're going to have a reduction of up to 74%. And again, let it rest for 10 minutes. You're going to notice a difference in 2 to 3 or go, I'm done, I'm special. Let it rest for 10. We wanted to create that nice, beautiful shield. 10 for 10, then it lasts up to 10 hours.
That's wonderful. And then not only can you get through the workday, you can get through cocktail hour, maybe seeing some friends, come home and wash it off. I want to ask about a trial offer because you're trying to encourage people to just give it a go.
We are, everybody would like a free sample. We love to give everybody on the planet a free sample. It's not realistic. So here's a great idea that they came up with. For $14.95, you're going to get a 6-pack. That means 6 applications of your Plexderm to give it a try. This is free shipping. This is a 30-day money-back guarantee. There is no subscription. So once you get this is all you get. Give it a try and see how you like it. We want to hear your stories. After 8 years, we still hear from people every single day. So just go to plexdermtrial.com. You can get this great deal. Call the number on your screen or scan that code. And then we want to hear from you.
Sounds good to me. Melinda, if we can look like you, then I think we're in the right ballpark. My friend, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
You can try Plexaderm for just $14.95, including free shipping, by visiting plexadermtrial.com or by calling the number on your screen. Again, that's plexadermtrial.com or call 800-727-6719. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by Plexaderm. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by Junk King Austin. Large trucks, clear pricing, same-day service, and a whole lot more. That's what Tyler Williams says makes Junk King Austin stand out among the crowd. He's here to tell us a little bit more about his business. So Tyler, very first question up to you. So what makes Junk King different than your competitors?
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. First of all, thank you for letting me come out here today. Super excited to be here. What makes us uniquely different is our trucks are about 20% larger than our competitors.
Oh.
Meaning we can get larger, bigger jobs into one truck, not having to make multiple trips, being able to clear space out as fast and efficient as possible.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So when people finally get to that point where they say, okay, I need this junk cleared out, you can show up pretty quickly.
Saturday morning, you're clearing out your garage, that old attic you haven't been in 30 years since you moved in. Our guys will go up there. They'll be able to take pictures of everything, even if you're not able to go up there. That way you can kind of get a good visual what is up there, and we'll be able to get it cleared out and taken care of for you.
Amazing, yeah. And tell me about your clear-cut pricing model, because I think that's another thing is people don't want to be stuck with a bill that they didn't see coming.
No, absolutely. Fully transparent pricing. We actually have 13 different price points, allowing us to get you as most accurate as a price possible, primarily volume-based. So Again, like I said, transparent. We're able to fully explain to you how we're coming up with that price. We're not just pulling a number out of a hat. If you're wanting to get a new couch, well, what do you do with the old one? It might still be in good condition. You're working with a donation center. Well, who's taking it there? The good news about us is we handle all of that for you. We've got a whole Divergent team back at the shop. They sort through everything, separate recyclables, donatables. We work with several nonprofits across not only this area, but across the country.
Talk to me about some common items that y'all normally pick up. I heard the garage, I heard the attic, but I'm thinking that there's probably a lot of stuff that is too heavy maybe for someone to pick up themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Concrete, heck, that ice storm that we just had not too long ago, somebody took out a mailbox, so able to get that picked up. We do stuff all the way up to full shed teardowns. We pull up carpet. Yesterday we just tore out a wall for a customer they were trying to demo.
You can take a wall?
We can take a wall. Yeah.
Wow.
So really whatever your project that you're working on or they're doing, we're here to help you.
How can folks who are watching today get started?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call us at our 888 number or visit us online. If you visit us online, you can get a $20 off discount. So just give us a call.
Sounds good to me. Tyler, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Call 1-888-888-JUNK or go to junk-king.com to get started today. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by Junk King Austin. Hey, we are happy to be able to offer you some help if you're out there searching for jobs. KXAN has partnered with ZipRecruiter to help you find thousands of job openings in Austin and around the country. Just go to kxan.com/jobs where you can search thousands of new postings every single day. Check it out right now and get started on the path to your next career.